Good afternoon, this is Shanling for Hi-Fi and the Low Light, and today we're going to be taking a look at a portable system. Usually I focus my reviews on individual components, but I want to transition over to a pair, a portable digital audio player and a headphone amplifier that I find have an excellent value. Now I'm not going to talk as much about the build quality or the functionality of the two. I am going to focus mostly on the sound quality and how that sound compares to systems that cost less and systems that cost more. A big thing for me that I want to focus on in 2018 is value. So the components that I'm talking about are Shanling's M3S portable digital audio player and Aune's B1S portable headphone amplifier. Now, both of these components are roughly the same size, so it makes for an easy to stack system. They do have a rubber band. The M3S does not have a touchscreen display, so you can again rubber band it without any drawbacks. The nice thing is the controls are on the sides of each. In addition, the volume knob is on the front. Now what's also important is all of my 3.5mm jacks are on the front. That means when I place it into my pocket or whatever I'm going to carry it with, everything is going to come out of the top, nothing's going to be poking out from the sides or in the bottom. Because you want to make sure that your cords are not being strained or compressed, because that's going to, of course, lead to failures. In terms of sound quality, the total cost was about $500, and I found that it compared well to my JDS Labs LDAC when I paired the LDAC to the Ship Valley 2. Now there's a $150 difference between that desktop system and this portable system, but I found the resolve to be fairly similar. The question you're asking though is, why do I want to pay more for the same? Well, it's the added convenience of portability. Depending on what your lifestyle is, you may rather have something that is portable than something that has 3 inputs and the option to output into powered speakers. I myself value both. With this combo is that it was not as resolving as my standard. I'm going to talk about that. My HM901 and my Pico Power is the standard that I measure everything by. And this system was not as resolving as that. But where is the value? The problem with the HM901 is that it is $1,000 by itself, and the amplifier can range anywhere from $300 to $450 depending on what sales are being run. The other problem with the HM901 is I have a custom cable built for it because the proprietary jack is very frustrating to operate. So while it's an amazing system, while it's incredibly resolving, it's very demanding, it's very cumbersome, and I don't necessarily like to recommend things that are cumbersome. You guys may not care as much to fiddle and to customize and to optimize to get good quality. You guys are more likely going to want something that is easy to own, that is easy to operate, and has a phenomenal sound quality. That's how I was when I was just a consumer, when all I did was purchase. I wanted something that was easy, especially if you guys are working full-time or your students full-time. Your time is important. So again, in terms of resolve, this was very much in the middle of the pack. What that means is, if I'm listening to a song from my 901 or from my NFB10 ES2, there are probably about 2 or 3 transients that are not present when I step down to the portable source. There is some tactility that may not be as obvious. But what's important, especially with portables, is the timbre, is the naturalness of the music and how pleasurable it is to listen to. In every portable situation that I've been in, there's always been noise present. My problem with having a $1,500 portable rig is, while it is amazingly resolving, most of the time I'm not going to be in an environment that is quiet enough to appreciate it. And while these components, that are truly reference class, are absolutely perfectly balanced, as soon as you introduce noise, the balance is shot. Going into the Aune B1S Class A amplifier and the Shanling M3S portable digital audio player, the two complement each other well. The M3S is a bit dry and hard. The B1S is quite wide with a very beautiful, very good added warmth. When I'm at home in a quiet system, I notice the warmth. I notice some of that added body in the lows and in the mid-range. However, when I'm in a portable situation, when I leave my carefully calculated office space and I'm on my patio, or if I'm in the living room sitting in my favorite chair, which I like to rock in and read, there's noise. Whether it's somebody cooking in the kitchen, whether it's the sound of, a kid outside of the front door running around, there's noise. And with the introduction of just a little bit of noise, that added body isn't present. It's not as obvious, it's not there. And that's where the value comes in, is the detail, the resolve that is there is present. There's a good focus on it. It is easy to distinguish. There's a blackness that exists on both products, a lack of noise from the components themselves. And what detail it does resolve, again, makes itself apparent. And that's what I like about it, is there's a balance in the timbre. There are no frequencies that are overemphasized. There is a clarity or an exactness to the detail. It is not the most resolving. It is not the most transparent system out there, but it is more than enough. It has enough resolve, enough transparency that when I step away from my office system, it is pleasurable and it is enjoyable, and that is where the value is. I do want to talk about how it compares specifically with my existing equipment, so let's take a look at that. I'm going to go over to the desk. Alright guys, in this portion I mentioned I wanted to talk about how the specific systems compare to one another. I have separated the B1S from the M3S because you can use the M3S by itself as well as balanced out, and you compare the B1S with a variety of different depths such as the M2S or my HM901. For comparing, I have two headphones that I like to use. I have a custom Audio-Technica ES10, which was modded by a friend of mine. The tonal balance is quite linear and it's very resolving. To level the playing field, I also have my HD800. This is not really a portable headphone, but if you're going to own it, it's important to have a system that can drive it no matter where it happens to be that you want to use it. So I want to talk about just complexity, the nitty-gritty. The M2S is the simplest. You just have a single 3.5mm output. It's very straightforward, and that's it. This port also functions as the line out, so anytime that you want to pair something to the B1S, it's straightforward. And that's it. That's all there is to it. The M3S is in the same boat. It is the system that I like the most for its ease of use because you simply drop it in and you're done. There's nothing else to do with it. Now, the Pico power is the same. It does have the jack, but using the 901 as the source means I need this very specific adapter. It doesn't come with this naturally. It comes with a right angle, which is very awkward. The other problem with the Pico power is the Pico power has batteries. Now the 9 volts are great. I love it. The battery life is a long time, but they're an additional purchase. Different 9 volt batteries have different characteristics. You can do alkaline, which push more voltage, or you can do lithium ion, which help to sustain more current. Again, I have a separate charger for the batteries, and I do need to swap them out probably about once a week. But that's an added cost. That's an added question of which batteries sound the best. We talked about balanced. With any of these products, as soon as you go balanced, you need additional cables. The M3S uses a 2.5mm. So I have a 3.5mm TRRS, tip ring ring sleeve, that goes to 2.5 because I have some headphones that are native to 3.5. But what about the headphones that aren't? A lot of my headphones are 3.5mm, not native, but they're 4-pin XLR. So I have a 4-pin XLR male to 4-pin XLR female that goes to the 3.5mm tip ring ring sleeve. So I can pair these all together like this. Now I have two adapters. Now you could just say, well, why can't I go from the 4-pin female to 2.5? You can. You absolutely can. But now there are other products that use the 3.5. For example, the portable digital audio player I have, the M3S, uses 2.5, whereas my own LH Labs Geek Out V2 Plus uses a 3.5mm balanced out. Ooh. So again, there are a lot of different products that you may need if you want to go balanced. Balance on a portable is nice if you only own one headphone. If you have just one headphone, it's only one cable you need to purchase, maybe one adapter if you have a variety of other balance stuff. It's simple. As soon as you own multiple headphones, they all have different terminations, so either you have them all hardwired to balance, or you get adapters and modular cable systems for all of them. It gets to be a lot. In terms of sound quality, the M2S was entry level. It was the starting point. When I moved into the M3S, the digital audio player single-ended output, there was better soundstage, but the body was much the same. It wasn't as impressive. Now, balanced out of the M3S was very, very impressive. If you only own one headphone, balanced out of the M3S is the way to go. But it's not powerful enough to drive the HD800. What about the Geek Out V2 Plus? Well, you still need a screen, so that means you're going to either have to have a tablet or a computer or a cell phone to drive it with, which is added cost. And again, if you're using the balanced out, the sound is quite balanced, but it does have a tinge of hardness. I own it because it sounds beautiful with my Grado style headphones. Absolutely phenomenal. But it's very specific. If I use something like the HD800, it's too bright and I don't like it. What about this setup? What about the Pico Power with the HM901? Again, very specific. It'll drive the HD800, but unless you have the most perfect, the most optimal listening settings, it's terrible. This is going to be the combination that has the best balance of both resolve and just sheer enjoyment to listen to, as well as ease of ownership. With both of these as balanced options, if you have a dark headphone, it will pair nicely with the balanced output of both of these, and you just need that single cable. As soon as you own more than one headphone with different styles, then it gets to be less than ideal. It gets to be kind of, is this good? Is this not good? It's not the best. Going to the 901, this is again, if you have the perfect listening setting, if you have the perfect headphone that you have no flaws with, the Pico Power and the 901 is a very impressive combination. If you have a problem with your listening and there's noise, it's not that great anymore. If you have a problem with your headphone, it's just going to be exacerbated. Now what about this? What about pairing the M3S to the Pico Power, or pairing the 901 to the B1S? Well, again, this is a matter of preference. The problem I have with this is the 901's connector is weird and it doesn't like to, I have to like set it back, and sometimes it would come loose, and it's not really ideal. And this pairing was, again, sonically it was too hard. So in all of my different listening impressions, the most resolving setups were very specific. They were very demanding. They required specific headphones to get the most out of. So yes, I could recommend that entire system to you guys. That's very specific and not beneficial. With the Geek Out V2, again, if you own the Sennheiser HD650, you will probably like how that sounds. You can get a single balance cable for it and it's going to power it well. If you have a newer Audeze headphone, then it'll have enough power from this. Legacy ones I found were not as impressive, but the newer generation of more efficient ones were. But again, these are specific instances. The Aune B1S as my amplifier and the Shanling M3S as the line out at $500 was the most enjoyable with the widest variety of equipment that I own. And that, in my opinion, that is where the value comes from. It does the most things right with the widest range of headphones. So in conclusion, guys, a quick summary. What I liked about the M3S paired with the Aune B1S amplifier was the ease of use. Some of the balanced products that I talked about were more resolving, offered better transparency, but that requires a balanced cable. If you own more than one headphone, you'll need a cable for each of those headphones, and that's an added cost. When I first got started in the hobby, I went the balanced route, and I spent a lot of money getting cables for my headphones, which is a poor value. I could have gotten a single end amplifier that was better than what I had, and took the money that I was spending to recable on getting better headphones. The other amazing thing about the system was how well it paired with a variety of amping needs. It is not powerful enough to drive my Audeze LCD2, but it has more than enough power for my HD800, It's sensitive enough to drive my HD25II, which is very, very sensitive to noise, very sensitive to any kind of added distortion. It has more than enough power to drive my HiFiMan HEXX. It covers a wide range of equipment, and it's not picky about what. If you have something that has more body like the HEXX, it still maintains the balance. When you have something that has less body, that has more detail like the HD800, it still keeps that expansiveness. When you take the system with your favorite headphone outside of your office, outside of your reference listening area, whether it's a closed back or an open back, the system is enjoyable. And in portable situations, that's what's important. While my HM901 and Pico Power are more resolving, while they're more impressive, more enjoyable in a quiet space, the first time that I listened to my HE100 with that system, I was not impressed. And that is again where the value comes in from the M3S by Shanling and Aune B1S amplifier. It's its simplicity. The system is single-ended, there's no need to purchase additional cables, proprietary connectors, none of that. They come with pre-optimized equipment. You don't have to get extra batteries or extra this or extra that. You have everything that you need to just simply enjoy the system. And as you get nicer headphones, as you get more resolving headphones, the system will scale with that equipment. So guys, I want to thank you for watching today. I want to thank both Musitech for allowing me the opportunity to demo the M3S, as well as Aune for giving me the chance to organize a tour for their phenomenal B1S amplifier. If you guys have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and tune in later, guys. Have a good day.